Who are the people who are at high risk of developing H1N1 influenza, pandemic influenza? Not everybody is equally susceptible. There are certain high risk groups. Look here: diabetes, pregnant women, neuromuscular disorders which prevent proper respiratory effort, chronic cardiovascular diseases, of course, excluding hypertension, seizure disorder or other neurodegenerative disorders, chronic renal disease of stage 3 or stage 4 CKD, cancer and other immunosuppression, either acquired or congenital, morbid obesity, and then people who have any one of these conditions, they are more prone to develop complications and serious forms of disease. So, we have to bear in mind these high risk groups whenever we evaluate a patient of suspected H1N1 flu. More deaths are occurring in people who are younger, particularly those who are less than 18 years of age. This is a cause for concern, and the younger the patient, we have to be more watchful about the severity of the illness and the probability of mortality. So, as far as the diagnostic testing for H1N1 flu is concerned, there are two types of diagnostic tests. One is the RIDT or Rapid Influenza Diagnostic Test, which is a card test usually done at the point of care or in some laboratories. The results are available within 1 hour. It is less costlier, around 700 rupees per test. I told you it is a card test. Detects the viral protein. It will not say whether it is influenza A, B or C. It will say that it is an influenza infection. It cannot differentiate between influenza A and novel influenza, the pandemic influenza, nor influenza B and C, nor any subtypes of E. The sensitivity ranges anywhere between 10 to 70%. A negative result cannot exclude influenza. It cannot distinguish between the subtypes, as I have told you. The specificity is very good. That means if someone throws an RIDT positive, then his chances of getting confirmed influenza infection are quite high. But again, the positive result only means that he has got an influenza virus and not the pandemic influenza virus. If positive, patient requires a confirmatory test. So much so with these disadvantages, these RIDTs are not recommended for patients diagnosis either by WHO or by CDC or even by Government of India. So, what the Government of India or other international agencies are advocating is to do this confirmatory test, which is called RRCT PCR, which is nothing but the reverse transcriptase real time PCR. First R is reverse transcriptase, RT is real time PCR polymerase chain reaction, swine flu assay it is called. Highly specific test, 24 to 48 hours is required time, costly around 4,000 rupees per test, detects viral multiplication, can identify the novel H1N1 correctly, and it is a quantitative test too. We can tell how many viral copies of the RNA are there in this patient's sample. It is a confirmatory test. Sensitivity of this test also is very high. The only difficulty with this test is it is a bit costlier and it takes time for the reports to arrive. To take any clinical decision, we may require the result early, but this test has got that limitation of time and the cost. Other than that, this is the excellent test and the gold standard test to confirm H1N1 pandemic flu infection. So, please do recommend the PCR test and not the RIDT, because RIDT has got its own inherent flaws. What are the facilities for conducting H1N1 testing in Chennai? In the Chennai region, we have got the Government King Institute, Institute of Preventive Medicine, Government King Institute, Guindy. Of course, we have got private institutes also, labs also recognized by the government. Now 5 laboratories are there: Bharat Scans in Raipet, High Tech Diagnostic Center in T Nagar, Diagnostic Services in T Nagar, Lister Metropolis Lab and Sri Ramchandra University are recognized as centers for testing for H1N1. These private centers are offering the rapid diagnostic test also, but I told you rapid diagnostic test is of not great use. If at all one needs to do, we have to do the confirmatory or RT PCR, that is the real time PCR test. Look at this new entry, the flu chip for diagnosis of swine flu. Kathy Rowland is the CEO of the biotech company. He has developed a flu chip, a new way to diagnose flu. This device is called the flu chip, is based on DNA microarray technology, a research tool that enables scientists to analyze the genetic activity in cells and more recently to detect pathogens in a sample. Shortly, specially labeled segments of DNA are robotically placed in rows of microscopic spots on a glass slide. The DNA segments can capture the telltale signatures of specific flu strains, and when the viral RNA from the nasal swab meets up with the DNA spots on the chip, individual RNA strands will stick like Velcro to the DNA sequences. They complement and thus cause them to glow bright yellow, and thus giving a positive result. If this were to really work well, this becomes the very novel, rapid and reliable test, and down the line it is expected that this could be a good test not only for this H1N1, for majority of the viral diagnostic kits. The viral DNA can be incorporated into the chip to make any diagnosis of any viral infection, not only H1N1, and this flu chip is specifically meant for H1N1 pandemic flu.